Hello everyone, today I'll be discussing the topic cell, the fundamental unit of life. What is responsible for the existence of our life? So when we observe around us, we will see ourselves, others, and also animals, plants, and even in the most areas. With our naked eye, we will see nothing but at the microscopic level, there are something which are very minute and they are living organisms. So what is responsible for the existence of all? So the discovery of cell was done by Robert Hooke, who was an English scientist, and he discovered the cell from the parts of tree or its small component of the tree. And also the discovery of microscope comes from the Dutch scientist, that is Anton van Leeuwenhoek. So how Robert Hooke discovered the cell, we'll discuss here. He took a small piece of the bark of tree and observed it under the microscope. He observed small patches in the bark of tree and that the single component of that small patches, he named it as a cell. That is, according to him, that was responsible for the existence of the tree and its formation, and he named it as a cell. So now, till now we have discussed the cell of the tree. Now we will be discussing the cell of animals or including us humans. So for our observation, we will see the cell of our cheek. How we can observe? We can observe it by doing a simple observation. Just take a paper cotton bud and wipe it on the lining of our cheek and wipe that cotton bud on the flat surface of the slide. Put 2 to 3 drops of stain, that is methylene blue, to color the specimen or the cell of the cheek, and on top of that put the cover slide and observe it under the microscope. To our surprise, we will see some small patches which are either rectangular, polygonal, or square in shape, which are nothing but called the cell. So I want to ask all of us the simple question: if all plants, animals, and microscopic organisms are made up of cells, all of them are supposed to have same functionality, but it is not so. Why? Because till now we have discussed the cell of animals and plants, and we have also discussed the existence of microscopic organisms. What is responsible for all of these? Now we will be discussing what are the differences between the animal cell, plant cell, and also the cell of small living microscopic organisms. Example, cell of amoeba. So based on differences, the different type of cell is divided into two parts, that is multicellular and unicellular. Multicellular in case of animal cell and plant cell, which are very complex as compared to the cell of amoeba. So we will be discussing here how here the differences of multicellular and unicellular. Multicellular, it is in case of both plants, animals, and also as human beings. How? We can see ourselves, animals, and others with our naked eye, but unicellular organisms. I have told you about the living organisms living in the damp moist areas, which are nothing but the microscopic organism. We cannot see with our eye, but if we took a small, if we search and took a small piece of the damp moist areas and search it and observe it under the microscope, we will see something which are very small and they are living. They are nothing but either amoeba or other small microscopic organism like Plasmodium or some other microscopic organism. So in case of multicellular cell, how the cell of multicellular is bigger in case of unicellular is because the size of multicellular cell is between 10 to 100 micrometers, which are very large as compared to the cell of amoeba or any unicellular or microscopic organisms where their size range from 0.5 to 10 micrometers. And in case of multicellular cell, our cell contain membrane-bound organelles like nucleus and mitochondria, and also others which are very important for our existence of our cell. And in case of unicellular cell, they do not contain membrane-bound organelles, which show that the multicellular cell is very complex as compared to unicellular organism or its cell. And in case of multicellular, cells are differentiated in order to perform different specialized functions. For example, let us take our different organs of the body like, for example, tongue and eye. Why do we use our tongue? To taste our foods, and we use our eye to see all around us. And in case of unicellular cell is not differentiated and single cell is responsible for different functions like obtaining food and its respiration or for breathing. Here in case of multicellular cell, we have discussed that different parts are responsible to perform different specialized functions. Meaning to say, we have discussed organ which formed from cell, a single cell. In case of unicellular cell, one cell is responsible for everything, either it is for obtaining food or its breathing or respiration. In case of multicellular cell, examples are all plants and animals. In case of unicellular cell, example I have given is Plasmodium, yeast, amoeba, and E. coli. Plasmodium, which is responsible for the malaria disease. So till now we have discussed different differences of cell, and now we will discussing the shape of cell in case of us animals and plants. For example, first, what are the different shapes of animal cell? Till now we have discussed the cell in case of plant, both plants, animals, and also the small microscopic organisms, but we have not yet discussed the shape of cell. How the shape of cell? We know that different parts or organs of the body we are using to perform different specialized functions. For example, like I'm using my eye to see, and I'm using my mouth and tongue and everything to discuss this presentation. Now, how the shape of cell comes here is that the cell of my eye is different from the cell of my tongue. So here also, the cell of liver is different from the cell of the neurons or called brain cell, and even they are different from the cell of our skin, which are epithelial cell, and also sperm cell is different from the fat cell of our body. This is in case of animal cell and also plant trees. The cell of plants. There are different types of cell which we will be discussing now. That is palisade, leaf cell, stomata, and xylem cells, which are different from each other and yet they are supposed to perform different specialized functions in case of plants. So that is all for today. In the next lecture, we will be discussing the structural components of every cell. What are those and what are their functions? So that's all for now. Thank you.